more things change, the more they stay the same. Do you really think breaking and entering is a good idea? Used Ethan's hidden spare key, no breaking involved. I don't know if he'll see it that way. I could wait for the bar to open, or I could look for answers. I picked the latter.
Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to some Twin Mirrors. Now you may notice that I kind of just go a little bit more straight to the stuff this time, the mementos and that. Well, that's mainly because I've already done this once and lost the part. You'll find out more next week in the next section, but yeah, this should be a little bit more streamlined. So there was a big celebration at Coal Miners Haven the day Ethan took over. He'd worked there for many years as a bartender, and now he owned it. It was a classic American success story, not often seen in Basswood. Man achieved modest dream through hard work. The bar was packed that night. The whole of Basswood came out to celebrate, everybody except Celeste, Ethan's little sister. She never showed. Ethan waited for her all night. He planned to share some of that grog with her. It was hardly champagne, but it was the first bottle he bought as the new owner. He saved it for just the two of them, but it was still there on the shelf the next morning, unopened. Christina, from the cafe, said that she saw Ethan and Celeste have a fight the next day. They used to be two peas in a pod as children, she said, shaking her head. Isn't it strange you never got to meet Celeste in all the years you were a regular at the Miners' Haven? Looks like Ethan has kept the bottle after all these years, perhaps to remember the proudest day of his life, or maybe he's waiting for a time when him and his sister will laugh and celebrate together again. Alright. Come on.
Whoa.
It's really hot in this
room. What happened here last night? First, look around, figure out what happened. I ended up drinking alone. So who brought that second glass?
It's super fucking hot in this room right now because I've been here recording like all day. Well, not all day, but for quite a while.
What knocked this clock off the pillar? These were sent scattering. Someone thrown into them? Rip.
Scratch C.
Did this happen yesterday, or was it always like that?
And if I can get the right angle on it. Damn it, I had trouble with that last time too, with the hat.
Ugh. Did I do this? Sorry, Nick. It seems there was a fight. That could explain the blood on my shirt.
I don't know, that was a lot of blood.
I was involved? I won't be able to find out without more evidence.
Let's suspect
DG. Dennis's initials. Was he involved in whatever happened? Wouldn't surprise me.
Got the hat.
Joel's hat. Maybe we ended up having it out after all.
That's the last part. I know that there's something else to this. Maybe over here. Oh, can't get over the shoulder. There we go. Beer I need. What's this though?
Hugh's business card. Wonder why it's here.
Alright, so that's enough clues.
I think I've seen enough to put together the pieces of what happened last night. Just gotta think it through.
Okay, let's enter the Mind Palace and put together everything that happened. Let's Sherlock shit out of this.
At least I can always count on this place to make sense.
Alright.
Now to work out what happened while I was blacked out last night. I just need to think it through logically, throw out impossibilities. Until only the truth is left. I know I got into a fight, but it could have played out in many different ways. I have to think it through, find out what really happened.
Alright, so it says answer the question to start forming an hypothesis. So where did it start? So it would have started here because this is the last place we saw us. When the cutscene ended, that's where we were.
someone approached me. I can't remember who it was, but I know we got into a fight. Obviously.
And then from there, it would make the most sense that the fight ended up going backwards towards the turned over table and
If I
that.
figure out how the fight went, I should figure out who my assailant was.
So where did the conflict go? So if it went towards the entrance, then obviously that would explain the scratched seat, but it wouldn't explain the rest of the damage. So
Something hit the
clearly
pillar
went
with enough
towards the
force
pillar.
to make the clock fall. The person thrown into the pillar would do it.
And then if it ended at the bar, then that would have no reason for that to go away near the jukebox. The jukebox is bumped a little bit, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. But
Looks
on the
like
stage,
not even the memorial board was spared by the brawl. That could be it, but I still have to figure out who was sitting next to me.
well, if that's what happened, then that would indicate that
That's
Dennis
Dennis's.
is the one.
I definitely wanted to shut him up last night. I have the complete picture now.
You know, the man who talks to himself has an idiot for an
Fuck
audience.
off, Dennis.
I see why you have so many friends left in town.
Yeah, you would know about that.
At least my best friend never slept with my ex. Hey, who do you blame more, huh? The backstabbing asshole or the bitch who...
You don't talk about Anna or Nick that way.
You think you know who Nick was? Mr. Perfect? Give me a break. You have no idea. No one in this town does.
What are you talking about?
I'll show you. But not here. Meet me later at the...
Ethan is coming back in through the front. At least I think it's him.
You think it's him?
I can't actually tell if you can't tell. What I know for sure is if it's Ethan, he may not be happy to find you here. So I strongly suggest you leave. And if you...
I don't have time to lose explaining myself to Ethan.
All right. Pieced out of there rather quickly. Now, last time I recorded this part, when I lost it, it was like an hour and a half long or so, which is going to be brutal in the heat that I'm feeling right now. But like I said, it should be significantly shorter now that I know exactly where I have to go and everything.
Of course. I come back on the town's Miners' Day celebration.
Well, you always did have great timing. No time to dwell on that.
Focus. You tried Dennis's cell phone. No answer. So what now? Ask around, see if anyone's seen Dennis today. Maybe see if anything jogs my memory. I've heard worse plans.
Alright.
Basswood's small. If Dennis came through Main Street, someone saw him. Never knew Dennis to be the commemorative type. What's he doing here?
So, who else but Dennis could have a license plate like that? Like the true creative he is, he spelled the S in his name with a $sign. Joe never misses an opportunity to point out how lame it is. For once, I agree. Remember the one time Dennis took you out for a beer? It was your first week at the Basswood Jungle. He set up your computer, gave you your passwords, and asked if you wanted a drink. He joked that people only drank with him once on their first day. He even provided an explanation. After that, they know him an asshole. It's only later that you learn that his wife had left him and their 2 children. You actually saw glimpses of him being a good dad when his children were around, but he made it his pride to be the sarcastic, grumpy IT guy to everyone else, and nothing spells bitterness like a license plate with a dollar sign at the end. Alright. Where do I need to go? Over here.
Now, I can't
Hello,
just have you
Declan.
hanging around here all day like a ghost. It's a free country. Hey, don't give me that. People have been complaining, so don't let me see you here again.
You fascist.
What you just... I'm just doing my job. It's nothing personal.
Looks like you're not the only one who started off on the wrong foot today.
Sorry you have to see that. Some people you just can't reason with. Speaking of, you're still in town.
You haven't seen Dennis today, have you?
Why are you looking for him?
I wanted to apologize for last night.
I'll just stay out of his way for a day or two. I heard you messed up Dennis pretty good last night. I'm not judging. His head's full of smoke. Takes a while to clear it out.
I don't want to keep you, officer. Have a good day.
Keep your nose clean.
You know you're in Basswood when even the graffiti's about minors.
Imagine that's true for a lot of mining towns. Miners' Day used to be the big family day outing in Basswood. Your dad would take you to the town center. You'd have to sit on his shoulders to see the marching bands or the musicians on their stands. There was cotton candy and a donut machine in front of the Hold Hotel, balloons and pinwheels and sticky fingers, and laughter everywhere. In the evening, the lookout point would be littered with teenagers making out. Miners' Day was the glue that held the town together. It ran in people's blood, even in yours. It's what makes Joe still come here, staring at the miner statue for hours on end. It allows him to see the proud community Basswood was, standing tall in the Appalachian Mountains instead of a down on its luck town it became. Once a mining town, always a mining town, they always say. Come on. All the generic names for their non-copyright infringing
Yo, get
candy.
out the way.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Asshole.
That's enough.
Kathy and Hugh were both at the wake. I should talk to them. Bug made that for Mother's Day years ago, and Kathy still keeps it with her.
It was a Mother's Day gift. Kathy's kept it all these years, even though the colors have faded and her old boss grumbled that clutter didn't belong in a pharmacy. Even Joan says she wouldn't be upset to see it go. But Kathy will never throw it away. It's been there so long, it's taken on a life of its own. Soon Joan will do that too, take on a life of her own. But that glass jar will stay with Kathy, with the candle inside that's never been lit and probably never will be.
Ah, Samuel. Sorry about Richard. He's always a little on edge. I'm surprised to see you up and about after the night you had. Honestly. I was afraid you'd end up like your friend. You were quite inebriated.
Yeah, and I have quite the hangover to show for it. Not my finest hour.
I would say not, after your barroom brawl. I did my best to prevent you from following that other man outside. And I tried to get you to hand over your keys. But you would have none of it.
Sorry about that. The man I had a fight with, Dennis. Have you seen him today?
Seen him? No. No, can't say I have.
Thanks anyways.
That article you wrote, it's done this town a lot of good.
How do you figure?
The mine was a band-aid on a torn artery. Sometimes, doing what is unpopular is still the moral choice.
You probably believe that.
I'd offer you something for that hangover, but I find in some cases, time is the best medicine.
My mom used to say that all the time. Now she only says it a lot.
Sounds like a wise woman. Listen to her advice. Now, you have a good one, young man. Was there anything else you needed, by the way?
I'll stop bothering you. I need to get going anyways.
Not a bother at all. It's always a pleasure. Do come see me again.
Yeah, I do feel kind of bad for the way I'm doing this because, like, I did, like, all the different conversations and that on the first time I played it, but it takes so long.
Hey, Kathy.
Oh, Sam. What can I do you for?
Dennis hasn't come in today, has he?
Dennis? I haven't seen him since last night. Why? You looking for trouble?
Last night we got into a fight. Like a fist fight.
Really? I'm sorry I missed that. You could both use the thumping. But I left early to go check on Joan. Did you have to say that fantasy about her father being murdered was real?
That's not what I
just want her to be a little girl, not a little Sam Higgs, sneaking around and getting into trouble. And now all she can talk about is how you're gonna prove that she's right. Sorry. I know it's not your fault, but I just don't... I don't know what to do with her. She's my daughter, and I feel like I'm losing her. I gotta go. If the boss sees me jawing instead of working, I'll get an earful.
No one in here was much help.
Nope, they sure weren't. You know, I wonder how much like the extra conversations in that change anything. Because I mean, based on like, because me playing this now, having seen the end of the game, I can't really think how much it would actually changed, and like how much any of the extra conversations would have altered anything.
What are you doing out here?
Hey, Muley. Waiting for my mom to get off her shift at the pharmacy. Drawing. I got a new journal after I left the old one somewhere. See?
Did you get home okay last night?
Yeah. I bike everywhere. It's not like anything scary bad happens in Basswood. At least not normally. I heard you asking about my dad last night.
Careful about listening to other people's conversations. Some find it rude.
Then everyone should talk quieter.
That's what I always say. Ever consider being a reporter when you grow up?
Thought about it, but that's not what I want to do. Did you find out anything about my dad?
Not yet. Not really, at least.
Let me know if you find anything, please. I feel like I need something. It's just this town, you know? This place. It feels like I'm suffocating. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stand my mom. I don't like school. Well, except for science. And just... when I imagine myself in the future, I just don't... I don't know. I don't see this place, or these people. I'm somewhere else. Anywhere else. I know it's stupid, just...
It's not stupid. If you want, you can go anywhere in the world. Have adventures, fall in love. I mean, that's what I've been told anyway.
Gross. Okay, well, that other stuff sounds okay, though. Thanks for listening.
I got grown-up stuff I gotta do.
I've got kid stuff I gotta see about. So we're both busy.
It's tough seeing her like this. Seems she got older by 6 years in just 2.
Alright. A minor statue. And good old Joe.
Joe,
Sam? You old bridge jumper, how you been? What's the calendar say?
2 years, Joe. It's been 2 years.
Too long. Heard you showed up yesterday. Boys give you trouble?
They might have given me a bit of a welcome back.
After the mine closed, well, it ain't easy to put food on the table. Don't let that weigh on you. No one else has lost their legs recently.
You haven't seen Dennis today, have you?
I wish. Just about the only guy I could talk hockey with.
Not football?
I want to talk football. I can just grab anybody on the street. Dennis actually enjoys a man's sport. But no, I haven't seen him.
I have places I need to be, but it's good to see you.
Just promise you won't wait 2 years before saying boo again.
I'll do my best.
Working at the cafe most of the day. Really would like to talk if you're still around. It's from Anna, by the way. It's almost impossible to see her name written there because they put white text on a white background, like the geniuses they are. But you know,
Remember when this whole celebration
whatever.
used to be twice as big? Back when this town wasn't just a dead horse y'all keep kicking.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely cruising through this a lot faster. Oh no.
Now I've gone and made a bit of a mess. Oh, Sam, is that you? Dear, please, could you help an old doddering woman?
You are many things, but not doddering. Plotting, maybe.
Sam, you shouldn't say such things, even if they're true.
And into the Mind Palace we go.
Okay, Muley, for 2 points. What is the name of the pink pony on the animated cartoon show Prancers? The super cool one I was telling you about the other day? You know, my favorite?
Polly. Polly Pony?
No, that's her sister. She's totally different.
Then what is her name?
I'm not telling. What if the card comes up again?
You really like to win, huh, Bug?
All right, coffee for you and hot chocolate for the young... Is that a comic about monsters?
It's about Tardigrade Man. He can survive almost anything. His only weakness is his own emotions. He's based on the microscopic tardigrades. It has 8 legs and can survive star radiation.
Huh. Well, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing a young woman should be reading.
She says she's gonna be an entomologist. What can you do?
I am going to be an entomologist. I'm going to study every bug, especially the crawlies. But tardigrade isn't a bug. It's a microanimal.
Well, good for you. Sounds like just what a young woman like you should be reading.
So, can we play this again tomorrow, maybe?
We can play as often as you want.
You promise?
Yeah, I promise.
Pinky swear? If you break those, you go to hell.
I don't think you're supposed to be using that language.
You can't break this. No matter what.
You're real intense for a kid, you know that?
Say it!
I won't break the pinky swear, no matter what.
Thank you so much. You're always such a dear.
Say, Christina, have you...
Oh, Sam, it's been years. It really is so nice to see you again.
Yeah, likewise,
I
but...
wanted to come to the funeral yesterday, but just thinking about it, oh dear.
Now, I know you want to interrupt her because I want to interrupt her. So eyes on me, buddy. Happy thoughts, deep breaths.
Yeah, well, speaking of the...
Poor Joan, losing her father at such a young age. Oh, what a tragedy. I was trying to find one of those games she likes so much to cheer her up. Poor child only has Kathy now, and, well, far from me to criticize or anything, but these last few months, Kathy hasn't been all there, if you know what I mean. Hopefully this tragedy will be a wake-up call for her to be more present. She should take a few weeks off to be with Joan. I know you would never refuse. Don't you agree?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure if poor Kathy would only ask him for the time. Ah, but look at me. I talk and talk and talk, but you had something to say, didn't you?
Have you seen Dennis today?
Dennis? No, it's odd, actually. He usually stops in here Sunday mornings. Like how you and Nick used to come over from the paper with Anna every Friday. You three always seem so happy. Oh, but you, Sam, how have you been doing?
It's been... Well, you know cruise control? I've been on cruise control.
You might miss it once it's gone. Life rarely lets you coast for long. You look well.
I've been better. Hungover this morning.
You know what's good for that? Coffee.
I know, Christina. Not right now. I gotta go. Anna's here. I should talk to her.
Sam, I didn't think you'd actually show up.
I didn't think I would either. But hey, sometimes we surprise ourselves.
So, I hear you got in a fight after I left the wake?
It was really more of a scuffle than a fight. A bit of tit for tat.
Oh, well, if it was just a bit of friendly fisticuffs.
Yeah, I don't know if I could call it friendly. You haven't seen Dennis today, have you?
Why? Afraid your powerful blows laid him up?
So, what are you working on?
I'm working on an article on how nature does its best to reclaim the land after a strip mining operation. Why are you looking for Dennis? I can tell something has you spooked. I can always tell.
Go on. Tell her. You could honestly use a non-imaginary person to confide in. She might slow me down. Or try to involve the cops. She might do those things, yes. Or she might be someone who you can trust. Who can help. I just want to apologize to him for what happened yesterday.
Well, he's probably working at the Basswood Jungle. He's there most weekends.
Thank you. I'll check that out.
We're not gonna have coffee? Okay. Bye then.
Bye. All right. To the Basswood Jungle, back across the street. Across the street and down the street. You know, it is nice for games like this to never have traffic, but considering how few people there are in this town, it makes sense.
Locked. I should check the back.
My. Look what we got here. Is that Sam Higgs? Trying to get back in the newspaper game? I thought you got the message last night. Of course, it was hard to tell. Considering you let Declan do your talking for you.
Look, fellas,
You know, Basswood can be a dangerous place.
Well, so maybe consider just getting before something bad happened to you.
Trust me, I'll be out of here as soon as I can.
Good.
Declan's right down the street.
Watch yourself while you're in Basswood, because we'll be watching you.
Alright. Into the newspaper office we go. Because, of course, the side door is never locked. Even though it's the employees only door. And would make the most sense for it to be locked.
Been a while. This place used to be my home, or at least felt like it. Where is Dennis? He should be in here.
Oh yeah, and if you're curious, the Pac-Man machine that's in the bar, when we were just in there, you can actually play it there, and it actually plays Pac-Man. I don't know if it has like how long
Dennis.
you can play it for, like how many levels it has, but I only played the first level.
What happened? Who? Is that how I got blood on me? Did I?
Okay, time to focus our mind, because, you know, we found our shirt covered in blood and now there's a dead guy. It's a lot of Dennis's, man. This is a very weird.
You can do this, Sam.
This is a very weird scene. I don't know what happens if you click on any of those guys. But what you have to do is just keep scanning until
Keep going. You got this.
until the screen vibrates a little bit like that, because that means that our other self has appeared. And we just need to locate him and focus
Don't
on
give up,
him.
Sam. You almost have it.
It's not really hard. I don't know what happens if you click on any of the other, like click on any of the Dennis's where it says murder. But I can't imagine that it's that bad.
This is Dennis's office. There must be some clues around. Come on, Sam. Keep it together. You can solve this.
Alright.
Figure this out before Dennis dies again and the panic overwhelms you. Chest wound. What kind of weapon did this?
So yeah, this is a thing where you have to do this quickly to get an achievement.
The killer must have been close.
You have to focus on all of the stuff that's
The bullet
important.
stopped here. Small caliber like Dennis's gun. I need to find that gun.
And the achievement is just to get it done quickly.
His gun's
Because
gone.
I think if
He had it
you
with me.
screw
Where'd
it
it
up,
go?
your other self there helps you.
The shooter used Dennis's gun, but I didn't have it. this
And that
time.
loses you the achievement.
How did I get the blood on me? A blood trail leads off. Someone or something moved through it. Me? The blood pooled where Dennis fell, so the body was moved. If I moved it, that's how the blood got on my shirt. I have the complete picture now.
Look out, Dennis. There's somebody behind you. I wonder if they actually wrote lines for this part, because obviously we would have no way of knowing what was said during this confrontation. We can just suss out, like, more or less what happened. But I wonder if, like, for the audio for this, if they actually had people record lines and then muffled them like that, or if they just had them say just like speak whatever, just like gibberish and muffled it. Because I guess if they had them actually speak lines and then muffled it in some way, somebody might be able to actually make out what they said, and obviously, if they were going to record lines for it, they'd record what was actually said, right? And then it might give somebody a clue as to what happened, or just straight up tell somebody what happened,
The blood on the shirt was Dennis's, but I didn't kill him. I found him dead. Blackout drunk, panicked. I stumbled to my car. Luckily, I ended up back at the hotel and not wrapped around a pole. Now, I know I didn't do it. The police, though, may not feel the same way. I need to search the area.
Maybe you should stop
See if I
stepping
can
in all the
find out
blood, then.
why someone would murder Dennis.
Because Dennis is an asshole, but...
I need to find out why Dennis was killed. It may have something to do with Nick. Dennis's computer is still signed in. Seems like a good place to start.
Alright, so to Mary Gardner, going to be home very late tonight. Sorry, I need to make an asshole understand how the world really works. I won't be up to make breakfast, but there's some waffles in the freezer. And should be some, and that's when somebody interrupted him. He also spelled really wrong, which is not good for an IT guy. Inbox. This is also really hard to read the things. Curiosity and urgent, I do believe we get the same things for them.
Fizzled out.
Dear Nicholas, I hope you had a pleasant trip. You mentioned last week that you were on the brink of a big story. Things on our side have been rather lackluster, I'm afraid. I was hoping maybe you would like to share with this old owl what you have up your sleeve. Hey Walt, sorry to disappoint, but I've decided to drop the story. It turned out I got to a dead end after all. Better luck next time, I hope. Oh god, do I actually have to read them both? But the urgent one is the same, is it not?
Between Nick and Dee.
Oh, no.
They're talking in codes. Nothing stated clearly. They didn't want to risk anyone learning of their meetings. Smart. Someone was watching.
I didn't think I'd hear from you again. If you're willing to talk, I'm very willing to listen. I can make them meet up tomorrow.
The puzzle comes together. Dennis was reading everyone's emails. He found out that Nick hadn't stopped his investigation like he'd told Walter. And that Nick was still talking to some informant. Then he decided to tell me. And now he's dead. I need to look through any notes Nick left in his office and check Walter's computer. They have to have something for me to go on. Nick must have left some notes behind somewhere.
Maybe.
Walter also might have something on Nick's work. I should look around.
Alright. So first, let's go to my nameplate.
Walter always treated us like family.
Because that'll give us another memento. It was tradition at the Basswood Jungle to have an end-of-year party in the office. Walter insisted on it, paying for booze and food out of his own pocket. One year, he even got presents for everyone. Engraved nameplates for your desks. Now, if anyone walks in here, they'll see that we mean business, he said, beaming with pride. Walter started at the Basswood Jungle as a gopher, having dropped out of high school after his father passed away. He climbed up the ranks over the years. He lives and breathes the newspaper. Telling stories gets under your skin. He would always say, your comrades are family, and we look after our own. Looks like he could never bring himself to throw out your nameplate even after you left. So we'll head into Walter's very nice office here. And of course, password protected.
There might be something around here that hints at Walter's password.
Yes, in fact, the password hint.
Ugh. My heart's desire. It could mean a person, but also a place.
If I ever go
He
looking
was
for
never
my
tech
heart's
savvy. He just
desire.
uses words that mean something to him. There's a good chance there's a clue in his office.
Walter's favorite article.
Walter had this article framed after he saw the boost in traffic the Haven got. Basswood is his blood and soul. Wouldn't surprise me if he said it as his password.
And then we have yet another memento across here on the
That was
wall.
just after Anna came on. And we really were a small clan.
Remember the day when Tara decided the Basswood Jungle needed a team photo? Nobody wanted to do it, but they couldn't say no to Tara without a good excuse. In the end, it only took her about half an hour to guilt the entire office. Dennis said he'd be in the photo only if you would be there too. He knew you were never that you never liked forced fun, pub quizzes, organized team lunches. Your reluctance to pose for a photo was a safe bet. But you agreed. Tara was pleased with herself. A team photo only really matters if everyone is in it. Maybe she had a point. It's the only team photo the Basswood Jungle has ever taken. Alright. And we do have the password for it, which is Basswood.
And I'm in. Let's see what secrets you got in here, Walter.
Inbox. Here's the report on Nick's crash. You haven't asked for one of these in a while. Nothing all that interesting here. Just another sad day by the roadside. West Virginia roads take more good sons than guns do. Bess, I wanted to extend my greatest thanks again for your help. You are a scholar and a saint. It looks like I was worried unnecessarily. Regardless, thank you for putting my mind at ease, Walter Dodson. We can open the file.
Standard so far, by the book. I see why Walter wasn't worried.
Car found against a tree surrounded by debris. Fire started at or after impact and burned out with Nicholas Waldron in the driver's seat. Skid marks and other traces suggest the driver was startled by an animal and exited the road at high speed. Driver most likely inebriated in some form.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Nick would never drive without his seatbelt on. And he always kept his window open.
Airbags deployed, seatbelt was not on, windows were rolled up. Driver probably drunk and forgot the belt. The fire burned out a small area around the car but did not spread. Unknown if driver was alive at the time of crash, but if so, did not survive the fire. Blunt force trauma, smoke inhalation, or burns are all possible causes of death.
The car really burned.
Yeah, it did.
Though that's very uncommon in most crashes.
Yeah, it's almost like it, had help.
So, Walter got the police report from Bess. Nick was supposedly drunk at the wheel, which doesn't sound like him. And his seatbelt was off and his windows up, which both sound very wrong. Walter seemed to buy it, but I don't know if I do. I think it's time I check Nick's office. Hope he still leaves his notes out.
He doesn't. But before we check Nick's office, we need to go and check over here. See if you remember, Bug said that she left her note journal somewhere.
Joan used to keep this with her at all times, always observing and sketching and... what are those numbers?
Yeah, what are those numbers? 3121. Underneath the magic boss. Over here, we got his desk and everything. Which, actually, I do want to see what happens with this. Because we got this photo. So we have leave it, take it, and put down. So put down, I assumed, was just going to, I don't know. He flips it over so that he can't see it.
Nick wouldn't mind if I kept this, for old time's sake.
I don't know, he might. And then his laptop's missing, as you can see there. Come on.
If I had the code, I could get in here.
Yeah, you could. 3, 1, 2, 1.
Thanks, Bug. Your obsessive snooping pays off.
Yeah, it does.
Nick always kept extensive records of his work. He was almost obsessive. How could there be so little information regarding his last investigation?
That unemployment skyrocketed after the mine closed. Very normal. Flattened out a bit in the last year or so. Is it on the rebound? Numbers looking good. Trend or outlier? Need more data.
Nick was looking into the impact the closure of the mine had on Basswood. What was he looking for? Nick was traveling all over. Train tickets, hotel bills, out of state even. He was tracking something. Or someone.
The tickets, and then we can read it, but all it says is that he went from West Virginia to Florida on train 254.
Nick had a contact. Same name as in the email. He was onto something big.
Alright, 8 p.m. with D, twitchy guy, but might have something useful. 5 p.m., second meeting with D. So the first one is January, this is in February. This is actually something, assuming he's not full of crap. Always wants to meet in spooky spots, maybe seen to main movies. March, 10 a.m. with D. Had to buy him breakfast, and he said we couldn't meet anymore. Seems like a dead end. April, thought I'd lost him. Glad he's open to talking again.
What Nick was looking into was something big and dangerous. It's why he was so careful. So, did you come to the logical conclusion to this mess we're in? Just a hint. We should get out of town immediately. Dennis tried to talk to me about Nick, and that's what got him killed. Exactly. Like I said, you should get out of town. And the details of Nick's death, it doesn't sound like him. 2 years is a long time, Sam. He may have changed more than you know. Changed decade-long habits? I need to go to the crash site. Just remember, if you're right...
Sam? What's happening? Dennis. That's Dennis. What happened? Is he...
Anna, listen to me. Anna, I did not kill Dennis.
Oh my God, no. It's... How could this happen?
He died last night. Hours ago. Not much we can do right now. He asked me to meet him here after, but I was so drunk I arrived late. And the person that actually showed up killed him.
Person? Sam, you were clearly hiding something when we talked at the cafe. Was it this?
Anna, I didn't kill Dennis. I promise.
Of course, I know that. It's the only reason I'm not running for my life, but... Why haven't you said anything? At least to me. I wish you trusted me. This... It won't look good. We need to call the police.
They'll think I killed him. I thought I did at first. I have no alibi.
This is not about you. Dennis had a family. They have to know what happened. It's the right thing to do. Do you want Walter to find his body come Monday?
She has a point. Someone is gonna find him eventually. Involving the police would only slow us down. I'll be more efficient on my own. Efficient and possibly friendless. You already decided not to trust Anna about the shirt back at Christina's. If you don't listen to her now, what will she think of you?
Nope. Peace out.
Anna, no. They'll want to interrogate me, and we'll never find out who did this.
What's wrong with you? How could you be so cold?
We can't make him not dead. What we do now will decide if we can find out what really happened. Trust me.
I'm not comfortable with this. But if you insist, we'll just leave him.
Also, I think whoever did this might be linked to Nick's accident.
This is about Nick? The crash?
I'm going to the crash site to confirm my suspicions.
I'm not going with you.
Why not?
Because you don't trust me. You think I didn't already notice back at the cafe? I can't follow you blindly.
I see, that's fair. I'll keep you in the loop if I find anything.
All right. Be careful.
You're sure you want to do this? Dennis was murdered, and the report on Nick's crash doesn't sit right with me. I need to know what really happened to Nick. Suit yourself. Just be careful. This is the place.
Alright, so now we're at the crash site. As you can see, there's a couple of signs taken down. Burned out area over by the tree.
Nick, I'll get to the bottom of this. First, gather the clues. Cold, hard, plain facts. That's the only way I'll know what really happened.
Yep. Okay, so we got a car part
Debris
here.
from Nick's car. The police didn't clean up very well.
And then we also have the burned out
Car went up
area.
like kindling. It was pretty intense, judging the damages to the area. The bark got badly burned. Must be where Nick crashed.
Yeah. Makes sense. Clearly, he came through here.
Two of the road signs were torn out. Did Nick's car do that?
Now, you may have noticed it also said that it was
Fire
burned.
shouldn't have been able to spread that far.
And even this was
The
burnt
piece
a
of
little
wood
bit.
must be from one of the damaged road signs.
These skid marks are real bitches to get the marker for.
The tire tracks clearly show where Nick's car went off the road. These road signs are intact. Not a scratch on them. No skid marks. No trace of sudden braking.
Okay, that's all we can get from there. Now, the thing said from the skid marks in that it looked like an
Maybe Nick
animal
tried
ran
to
out.
avoid this log. It's a bit far from the road.
That it seemed like there was like an animal came out and he turned. But the issue with that though is that there are no skid marks anywhere along this road. Like none whatsoever. And what's even worse is what's about to happen when we go into the Mind Palace here.
Nick took this turn every day. It shouldn't have surprised him. A fuel stain. From Nick's car? Was it leaking fuel?
It's a lot of fuel to be leaking. Alright, so we've got all the clues.
That's all the information I need. Time to put everything together. The report states Nick was driving under the influence of alcohol. He was startled by an animal. And drove through a road sign before crashing into a tree. Things don't add up.
So here's my problem with this, right? He's right that things don't add up, but his reasoning behind it doesn't make any sense. Because things don't add up because they said that the skid marks indicated that he swerved to avoid an animal, but there are no skid marks on the ground. Anywhere. And, in his little recreation there, like, he puts the animal right there. Now, not only is there no way or no reason to think that if an animal jumped out, it jumped out there. Like, if an animal came out further down, like, as he was going around the turn, animal goes across the road, he swerves to avoid it, goes over the ledge, boom, done. Like, it makes, like, if you just move the animal, which isn't a thing you can do. So we have drunk, conscious, or unconscious. We're going to go with unconscious, because we assume he's murdered. Now this says it was caught on fire, it was leaking fuel, or not linked. But here's the thing. It had to have been on fire before it hit the tree. Why? because there is the signs that it hit, and the grass where it went over the ledge was also had burn marks on it, which means that the truck had to be on fire before it reached there. Now, as you can see, it's replaying what would have happened if he had been unconscious. But in this scenario, once again, this animal really fucks with everything. Because once again, now the animal's just sitting there. It doesn't even try to run away. Like in the case where he was drunk, the animal tried to run away and he turned the same direction the animal was running. Now that he's unconscious, the animal doesn't run away as the truck comes down on fire. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And he goes over. That's why that's on fire. And he hits the tree and burns out.
Only one simulation fits the evidence. The police report was wrong.
So, while this does obviously work out because it's a video game, there are so many ways. There's no reason for this to be the only scenario that makes sense. He could have been perfectly conscious and not drunk and swerved to miss that animal just fine. It may not account for the fuel up here, but I mean, maybe he was leaking fuel, and maybe that's why he caught fire. But, this is, the only real part of this game where it's that doesn't... It's one of those things where, sometimes, in a TV show or something, like Monk or Sherlock or something, right? He'll be aha, this must be the reason. And it's because of this. And it's I mean, technically, sure. In an episode of Monk, for example, there was this one guy who pretended to be this other guy's brother, and he knew 100% for a fact that they weren't brothers. Why? Because one guy said soda and the other guy said pop. That's it. That was his big clue. And it's what difference does that make?
This shouldn't hit me so hard. I already suspected. There's a difference between suspecting and knowing. The report is wrong. This was a murder. You gonna call Anna? Tell her what you found? Is that even a good idea? She'll have to know eventually. Yeah, you're right. Better tell her now. Anna,
Sam, I was just about to call you.
What's happening?
Someone broke into my house. I'm fine. My dad's here with me, but the place is a mess, Sam. Could you come? On top of everything else, this is all too...
Of course, I'm on my way. You didn't tell her. Not the right time. I couldn't agree more.
Alright, and that is the end of Chapter 4. And it better fucking not vanish on me this time. But yeah, we determined that Nick was in fact murdered, using clues that do fit the scenario, but aren't necessarily exclusively the only scenario that could have caused it, despite what the game says. But that is it for Chapter 4. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you next week for Chapter 5.